unpredictable year for the U.S. economy.
I guess you could say that.
Yes.
From Bear Stearns, Fannie and Freddie, the credit crisis, the market crash, the list goes on and on. Well, we've brought in the watchdog on Wall Street, Mr. Chris Markowski, give a recap of '08 and some insight into '09.
Where to start, Chris?
Oh, boy.
Crystal Ball and Miss Cleo, I should have brought one.
Right, exactly. So it was a crazy year. I mean, you had, all these financial institutions going down the tubes. You had the whole housing debacle, which a lot of people think was what started all of it, and then the cascading thing into the recession. How do you recap a year like this?
I don't know. I mean, everybody uses that word unprecedented all the time. It's like I'm so tired of hearing it over and over and over again. This happened, that happened, the next thing. I kind of look back at this past year, and, I was trying to think of the good that came out of it. And basically, you're getting rid of a lot of the junk, a lot of the problems that we had that we built up in the system, and it's necessary.
Yeah.
I'm actually a believer that if we went back to last March, St. Patrick's Day, and it seems like ages ago, that's when Bear Stearns went under. Maybe if we just let it go and the government didn't bail it out, maybe we wouldn't be in this predicament today. Maybe these other banks would have fixed themselves. But,
if you love something, set it free.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to come back to you all the time.
Hopefully, it won't.
Yeah, and you're right about that. We always say unprecedented, but I mean, market volatility, is this a new thing, Chris?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I mean, say we can go back, and I've written stories about this in the past when we've gone through other tumultuous times. The media loves this stuff. The crazier they can make the markets, the more commercials are going to sell on CNBC, the more people they're going to bring on. They want to get everybody scared. They want everybody paying attention to this stuff. That's what they're there to do.
Right.
But this is nothing new. Things have happened like this in the past. And if you were to take a look at the events that have transpired, we go back to like 1979 to 1989.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. The president was shot. There was terrorism. We had unemployment at 14, 15%. We had interest rates go through the roof. Yet that was one of the best bull markets ever.
Right.
Maybe we're going to be heading into another one of those times.
So we're into a new year, start of '09. What can people do and learn from, the mess that happened last year and remain optimistic?
Well, what I find interesting is that the government right now seems to be wanting to take on what everybody did wrong in the past, take on too much debt and start spending things that we can't afford. Take a look at the stimulus package going forward. We got the mayor of Miami wants to build a water slide. It's a shovel-ready project. We got the state of Minnesota wants a snowmaking machine.
Right.
It's kind of like people putting flat screens on their walls that they cannot afford. This is what we need to avoid. We have to stop doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. That's lunacy.
Yeah, and we need to look long-term and be patient with everything, right? You say
Yes.
patience is the key.
Yeah, if you're going to think, and this is the same thing that drove people into the Ponzi schemes, to all this other stuff. If you think that you're going to put your money away, you're going to start saving, and within a few short months you're going to be a millionaire, that's nuts. That's not going to happen.
2009. So why not start out the year off right by getting rid of your debt and planning for the future?
Very important. Well, the watchdog on Wall Street, Chris Markowski, is back with some financial advice for '09. Welcome, Chris.
Oh, it's great to be back.
Okay, so you tune in to, programming. It's the new year, and then you have all these people telling you, hey, you can be the next Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, you can be rich. And personally, I think it's a bunch of BS. Is this true?
Get rich quick?
There's
Yes.
Always get rich quick is always a bunch of nonsense. Did you guys make resolutions this year?
I did. I made
Halfway.
the exercise one.
Okay, the exercise
The cliche exercise.
See, I always hated resolutions simply because, I always believed that if you needed to make a change in the way you lived, you should probably do it right away. You shouldn't wait for a day.
Right.
And for some reason, they really amp up all of these various different things, how to get out of debt, how you need this software to do this, and great trading this. It's all a bunch of nonsense. You're right on. You need to get out of debt. You need to stop spending more than you're making. I mean, this is not rocket science.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Live
It's
within
just-
your means.
Yeah, I mean, and they get all these people asking you, there's all sorts of different programs and whatnot out there. They're asking people to send them checks, thousands of dollars to get them out of debt. How does that work?
Yeah.
Explain that one to me.
Right. I've read some of your stuff. I'm a big fan of yours, Chris. And you say that these get-rich-quick artists, these scam artists that tell you they're going to make you a millionaire, that's the second oldest profession in the world.
Yeah, we all know what the oldest profession in the world is. Second oldest profession is get-rich-quick cons, simply because greed is human nature.
And in both cases, you're going to get screwed.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. That stuff's flying all over the place here tonight. Yeah, you're right. And that's why the guys like Bernie Madoff get off with things and all this time, because people want to believe that there's some shortcut in life.
Right.
Everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. If everybody just understood that, and got that in their brain, they'd be fine. They wouldn't get scammed. They wouldn't get ripped off because that's just the way life works.
Okay, so
Now-
people need to also be patient in the new year as well.
Right. And this is a time, too, a lot of people looked at 2008, they looked at the markets, and maybe there's some people out there who've never invested before, and they think, gosh, well, I'm glad I haven't invested before, this is a horrible time. Wouldn't you say that's the exact opposite?
It's a horrible time if you need your money now.
Right.
If you're a senior citizen and you didn't transfer your money into some type of an annuity or you put it into some type of interest-bearing account where you're living off that, it's very, very bad. If you're in your 20s, your 30s, 40s, even early 50s, you're going to look back 10 years from now, 20 years from now and say, boy, oh boy, I wish I invested back in 2008 because that would be one of the best years ever. I mean, you could
2009
pick up,
too,
yeah, in 2009 as well. I mean, you got things that are on sale.
There's
And that's what you want to get involved with.
All morning long, we've been talking all things financial with our money guy, Mr. Chris Markowski. The Watchdog on Wall Street is back now to answer your questions. Hey, Chris.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to give an effort.
You're always honest. You always say, I can't answer your question, but, we'll do our
Do
best.
the best I can.
Okay.
All right, the first one's up from Jill in Ohio. She says, I love the fact that someone can point out how ridiculous the bailouts are. I work for a very large retail corporation. Where's our bailout?
Well, retailers, they're going to be scaling back. News just hit, actually, that Macy's going to be closing an additional 11 stores. Too much inventory out there, too much retail out there. They're not going to be getting a bailout. You're going to continue to see retail scale back under scope. We've talked about the bailout here, the banking bailout here before. It was a little bit different. I kind of contend that it wasn't so much of a bailout as rather a saving of the financial system. Right. Nobody wants to go to their ATM and not have cash come out, and literally that could have happened last year. Right. If the money and the funds didn't come in, banks weren't doing business with one another, commerce would have just stopped, and then there would have been no retail stores, there would have been nothing. We would have had Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It would have been bad.
Right.
That's why they stepped in to do that. But this is, retail, they're not going to be getting a bailout.
Right, I agree. And the car situation, that was, that's where for me, if the banking was sort of okay, I had a lot of problems with it, but the car, that's where I think we went too far. Because then you have a valid concern, you have valid complaints with porn or retail or whatever. Where's my bailout?
Yeah, well, with the auto thing as well, I think that there was a lot of political pressures right around Christmas time, and even still, they've got to go back to that. It's not done yet. They may take that money back in a couple months.
Okay, also, no name here, but somebody wanted to know if it's too late to roll over an IRA into your Roth, a SEP or IRA into a Roth IRA for 2008.
A SEP into a Roth. Yeah, you can do that, but I would caution anybody in doing that. You have to look at your individual situation. I really hate answering questions like this because I don't know, everybody's different and unique. It's kind of like giving stock tips. I don't do that James Cramer type nonsense because then you end up giving bad advice to people. You really need to consult with a true your financial consultant, and he can answer that question better.
Everybody's unique. So what are they talking about in the chat room this morning? You've had a lot of people going on there.
A lot in regards to the stimulus package, and I think we're going to be hitting about that next week. I think I'll be talking about that here on the show. Also, a lot of underlying anger in regards to what's going on with the CEOs and the Madoff situation. And I would agree. I mean, I've been talking about it. I mean, I've said for a long time, white-collar crime does pay here in America. The fact that Bernie Madoff, I mean, he's the poster child for flight risk.
Yeah.
And he's sitting in his Park Avenue apartment. Now he's trying to shuffle his jewelry off to his relatives. People are rightfully ticked off, and I think the country needs a little bit of closure, and we need to see some perp walks.
Yeah, I mean, you see a common, quote-unquote, common criminal that steals something from a 7-Eleven. They're sitting in a cell somewhere, and then these guys who literally robbed people out of their entire life savings are, as you said, hawking their jewelry.
Yeah, those are the people we're never afraid of. It's always like, oh, the sketch artist that puts the shady guy in the hoodie and the sunglasses. You think that's who you're supposed to be looking out for when it's the business guy in the suit.
Yeah.
It often is, and the funny thing is that it happens all the time. This is not new. I get 30, 40 stories like Madoff across my desk every day. He just happened to get the Spielbergs and the big money people, and that's why it's so publicized, but this happens all the time.
Okay, and real quick, we have about 20 seconds left. What about the taxes? People are asking about tax things. For
a lot about what's going to happen with taxes, how they're going to go about being taxes, how much they should be in tax, a little bit of anger in regards to that as well, and thinking that, maybe we should be taxing more, maybe we should be going after the wealthy here in this country, and we're having a really neat discussion in regards to that. That's something maybe we can cover next week.
Yeah, we'll get to that when you come back on the show on Tuesday.